Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 13th of July 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. The Central Election Commission has started with the recounting of votes for the 64 voting boxes that the Socialist Party and the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity have filed an appeal. So far, the Central Election Commission has counted the votes from 45 voting boxes, with the results showing that the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity has 5 votes more than the initial counting from June 25. The result is particularly important to the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity, as it will determine if they have any representation in the up-and-coming parliament, as Chairman Shpetim Idrizi needed only 37 further votes to take his seat in the new Albanian government. The chair of the Foreign Commission in the European Parliament, David McAllister, has declared that the opening of negotiations for Albania's EU membership could start as early as next year if Albania makes progress with the fulfillment of criteria. Speaking about the Western Balkans, Mr. McAllister declared that both Serbia and Montenegro have already made good progress, stating, "We are seeing improvements. Montenegro is negotiating for 20 out of 39 membership chapters. Serbia has opened up 10 chapters. If everything goes right, Albania can officially open negotiations by next year. 3 other countries, Macedonia, Kosovo, and Bosnia-Herzegovina, are a little behind, but they have a good perspective. My position is that a European country which shares our common values and goes through the very complex negotiation process can join the European Union once it's ready. It's about the implementation of the necessary reforms. We have to implement the necessary reforms and we have got to make progress on the fundamental questions. That means the rule of law, media freedom, strengthening democracy, strengthening opposition rights and religious tolerance. These are the key values in our family of nations across Europe. Of course, we have to prepare businesses and the economies of these countries for European standards. Despite some setbacks, I remain positive that these countries will develop." The candidate for DP chairman, Basha, held meetings in the south of the country where he continued to reiterate that the June 25 elections were neither free nor democratic and that the Democratic Party was the only party that did not involve in vote buying. According to Basha, the Democratic Party is the only party that has the vision to offer a government for the common people and not a government of corrupt politicians. "We were the only party that campaigned in a civilised and European way, offering a program to the citizens. Just like in 1991, this was not enough, because just like that time, the factors that made the decision were not the people's will. The people's will was deformed through the use of fear, despair and deep poverty by buying votes, threatening voters and ultimately changing the election result," declared Basha. He went on to add that the only way for the Democrats to return to power is to unite based on the contribution and empowerment of members. According to him, the Democratic Party is determined to continue its battle for the citizens' fate. Since the beginning, the Democratic Party is the only one that has demonstrated that it does not make compromises with crime in order to come to power. We are the only party that has the morals to fight this battle for Albania and for the Albanian people, for a government of people and not of politicians. We are the only party that has the morals and the vision. Mr. Basha also explained his view that the Democratic Party fights as a European force with a European plan for European standards of democracy and for a free vote. During his tour of meetings in the south of the country, the candidate for DP chairman Edward Selami issued calls for the creation of a coalition of values, which, according to him, is the only path to return the Democratic Party to power. "We should once again become the party of hope, the party of values. We should return to the hopes of the strata that caused the great overthrow and led Albania on the path towards Europe. The former politically persecuted, the hopes of former property owners, strata of small businesses, the youth and intellectuals. We started as the party of intellectuals. The weight of the Democratic Party was really felt at the beginning. We should return to this because if we don't, we cannot come into power. And we should do this together, declared Mr. Selami, who reiterated his calls on Lulzim Basha to keep his promise for open debates and also to make the list of Democratic Party members public. I would have liked to have held the public debate as he promised. I am asking him to make the list of members public. He has no reason to be afraid. We are not an illegal party. I think these are fair criticisms about an unequal race, added Selami. The candidate for DP chairman thinks that the 3 past consecutive losses in 2013, 2015 and in 2017 do not arouse hopes of bringing the Democratic Party into power. According to him, Basha is not a credible ally for the international partners, given the clashes he has had with them. As temperatures remain extremely high throughout the country, the chance of new fires erupting is persistent. The Civil Emergency Service informed that a further 13 fires have come ablaze in the recent 24 hours throughout the country. The Civil Emergency Service has advised that 50 firefighting teams, 15 vehicles supported by police, and 30 military forces, along with volunteers and helicopters, are all engaged in the battle to extinguish the flames. The Civil Emergency Department says that the danger of fires remains high under the conditions of hot weather. The fire in Diba resulted in the burning of 3 hectares of bushes and beech trees. In Bulchiza, the same level of damage was seen. Shkodër suffered from about 2.5 hectares of bushes and pine trees being burned. The fires have also burnt 2 hectares of trees and bushes in Fir, 1 hectare in Gjirokasta, and 2 hectares in Korç. Certainly, the most devastating fire of the day occurred in Vlorë, where flames burnt about 90 hectares of bushes, oak trees, and beech trees. All citizens must declare their real addresses at the civilian office by July 28, or they will be fined. The General Director of the Civilian Office says that the declaration of the settlement is a legal obligation, and in cases where citizens fail to do so, they will be fined up to 10,000 lek. The General Director of the Civilian Office explained that the procedure is easy and that by registering their real addresses, the citizens will benefit from being able to easily take certificates, identification cards, resident cards, or to register their children in kindergartens or schools. In cooperation with the local governments, the civilian offices will stay open also during the weekend, giving the citizens the opportunity to register their real addresses. Based on the reform the government has undertaken, if a citizen has 1, 2 or more houses, they must all be declared. If the process is not undertaken, the citizen will be fined. Tirana's Mayor, Erion Veliaj, calls on the residents of apartment buildings to ensure building administrators are appointed in order to pave the way for the investments in the capital. The rehabilitation of building facades is part of the City Hall's projects, and the installation of solar panels is also a priority. By appointing an administrator, it allows us to continue with other investments, such as the building's facades, painting and solar panels, declared the Mayor, who was in the area of Don Bosco inspecting the work, rehabilitating the area. I am glad that we are keeping our promises to return the community spaces that were before used for parking lots or restaurants. We have started with the reconstruction of Kindergarten 19, giving children the opportunity to play near their houses, declared the Mayor, while asking the citizens to maintain public spaces. Our plan is to construct 20 further playgrounds within a year. If we continue to do so, every neighbourhood in Tirana will have its own playground, stated the Mayor. Mr. Veliaj explained that the City Hall's focus for summer is to prepare the necessary infrastructure for the new school year, saying, "We will open some new kindergartens and we will reconstruct a major number of schools. By the end of the summer, we will also have opened some new schools." And that's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.